And welcome to Smash Writing. I am Justin. This is my trained puppet, Paul.
I am the other host.
He's not
your
the
man,
host.
Paul.
He's very much the sidekick, don't let him lie.
No.
But today we are talking about the greatest time of the year.
If you're a
Christmas.
WWE
Christmas
fan.
is, even if you're not a WWE fan.
That is
It's
true.
Royal Rumble. Nothing's better. No birthday, no anniversary, Christmas, forget about it. Move it aside. It's Royal Rumble.
Your dates don't matter. What matters
It's the
is...
30 man over the top. Or 30 woman over the top.
Yeah, both of them.
And today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite winners from the Royal Rumble, and then at the very end we are going to make a prediction on who's going to win the 2021 Royal Rumble, both men's and women's, which should not be that hard. It's actually incredibly hard this year. I have no idea.
Yeah, really. Now understand, since there are so many different ways we can rank them, understand this is our top favorites. This is not anything more than our favorites, not statistically speaking, nothing like that. This is just our favorites.
And there's only one person who's right, and it's Justin.
Me. But since Justin thinks he is right, we'll let him take the honors of going first with his number 5.
My number 5 is the Lex Luger Bret Hart dual victory, because it created something new out of it. It was unlike the John Cena and Batista one, who tried their best to mess up. Lex and Bret was supposed to be dual winners, and it created a rather interesting dynamic going into WrestleMania 10 of which one of these are going to be going to WrestleMania main eventing and getting a title shot to. Well, the title could actually change hands in the first match and then change hands again in the second. You didn't really know what you were going to get until the end of WrestleMania 10, and that created such a fun time to be a fan.
They tried doing that one other time. Was it with The Rock and Big Show?
The Rock and Big Show, but no, that was a mistake.
Okay, okay. So this feat only happened 3 times overall, but only one was planned and executed right in this way.
Yeah, that was Lex and Bret getting tossed out, which I think The Rock's feet weren't supposed to touch in 2000.
Okay.
And the John Cena and Batista one was a mistake. And Batista, I think it was Batista, he wasn't supposed to tumble out. And they both did because it's hard. It's hard. Like they go so.
Yeah, I mean, you can only execute it one time. You got to make it perfect, and
that was a miraculous mistake.
My number 5 is the only 3-time winner.
This is going to be the one where he admits to being wrong.
The 3-time winner, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Royal Rumble of 2001. This is one of my favorites because by this time, or close to it, Austin was pretty much at the end of full-time duties.
Well, he still went for a while. I mean,
Yeah,
he kept going.
I mean, his injuries were catching up, everything like that. He wasn't, the 90s Stone Cold, so to be able to, how much he was a hit with fans, for him to, because we all know, I mean, they're going to base off popularity, rating.
No, that's not true at all.
What? No?
No, that's not true at all.
Oh.
I was at the 2014 Royal Rumble. You know who they wanted? They wanted Daniel Bryan. That was the year they booed Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, because I forgot that was here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There was 2 of them. 90.
No, I think they only had one Rumble in Pittsburgh.
I'm thinking of a different.
Philly's had one. Philly's had. No,
but to see him reach out as making it his 3rd Royal Rumble winner and everything like that, knowing that he was on his, he only had a couple of probably solid matches left. It's nice to see him get that honor. I mean, Stone Cold. I mean, a lot of great wrestlers came out of the 90s. Stone Cold is one of them, so he has to be.
I'll talk more about it later.
He has to be in my top 5.
My number 4 is the return from 2002 from the returning Triple H. I was all aboard the returning Triple H in that year. That was it. I wanted this merchandise. I was just the biggest fan of Triple H. Seeing him come back, because I knew he was like the ruthless heel when he got injured with his torn quads. But seeing him come back was just so exciting to have him back. Just wanted to see him run through everyone. Then you had that magical moment with the Hurricane trying to chokeslam him and Stone Cold at the same time. And the look between him and Austin, like, are you serious? Everything. I love the 2002 Royal Rumble. I think it's kind of underrated in a lot of ways, and Triple H's victory was definitely, at least that night, well deserved. It didn't end well at WrestleMania, but at least on that night, it was awesome.
My number 4, and I mean this definitely goes back before I was even watching wrestling, but it shocked me because when you talk about somebody's career as high profile as the one of Ric Flair, I mean, I know his time in WWE really wasn't like as long as many people thought, or
It was a brief run, but it was a memorable one.
yeah,
And his been getting the '92 win was big.
yeah, and that's why like when I was looking back, I'm like, okay, let me look at the list of winners, and when I seen Ric Flair, I'm like, never. It made sense that he would win. I mean, he has one of the most legendary wrestling careers of all time.
Oh, that event was hyped up so much by Bobby the Brain on commentary.
Right.
And him just pulling for Flair and the way he just strung it all together.
And, you know, it's great because, you know, good thing is WWE Network that we both have. We can always go back and, I mean, that's podcast ideas or YouTube ideas of reviewing, you know, pay-per-views like that. But to see him get this one under his belt, and his only one, because then he went to WCW. And when he came back in, 2002?
3, I think.
3. I mean, he you know he wasn't going to...
It might have been 2. I think it was 3, though.
Yeah, one of those years. You knew he wasn't going to be that type of guy anymore. He was more of promoting younger talent. He still gave you some matches. Obviously, he didn't fully retire from...
Back to '92 Rumble here.
yeah, but that one cements his legacy. So, with him winning just that one, I have to put it on my list as one of the favorite ones.
Oh, my number 3 is the Empress of Tomorrow's taking home the first Royal Rumble for the women. I can see the case for like Becky Lynch getting it, but the story just didn't fit. And I think Asuka being the first one, riding that wave of momentum she was on, where she still hadn't lost a match in WWE.
I forgot that was still in that timeline.
Yeah,
she was going. They were really booking her pretty strong.
The tidal wave of just energy. She didn't have that big bang, that momentum that Becky Lynch had, but Asuka had just firmed everyone behind her. She could do no wrong. She was beating everyone. Again, much like the last one, the conclusion could have been a better one, but the match between Asuka and Charlotte was still a fantastic one. You didn't have any crazy, stupid stories to get anyone added to this match. You didn't have any pointless outcomes that came with the third Royal Rumble winner. But the Asuka winning still was special, from just watching all of these Hall of Fame legends of women's wrestling of past, meeting the present day and then the future women all mixed in, all doing their damnedest to put on a great memory and a great match. And then having it come down to Asuka and Nikki Bella on the outside of the ring, just trying to knock the other one off. Just fantastic time. Asuka's definitely high on the list of favorite winners.
My number 3 is Shawn Michaels as one of my favorite winners. During this time frame, he was the second person to win it back to back. The feat it happened once before him. Of course, Austin did it after him, but the feat happened before him too. But Shawn Michaels in the 90s was a different ball player altogether.
Yeah.
How you know, he was the guy that truly nobody liked backstage. He was getting all the fame and
He set up one of the coolest fake eliminations of all time when he hung off the top rope.
yeah, I mean he
Pulled himself back in and knocked off the Bulldog.
yeah, and he did it all, and this is did you say this was 95 and 96 then?
Yeah.
He was
No. Yeah, 95, 96.
yeah, because Austin 97, 98.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in his prime when he was, truly his prime before the back injury, even before.
I think that's a conversation, man. I think post back injury when he came back in 2002 I think it was 2003 in the Elimination Chamber. And then beyond, I think that was so much better than his first run.
Maybe, I mean, Sean's career was definitely tale of two halves.
Yeah.
You know, depending on where you want to label that half mark at, whether you want to say his back career or was it, but before DX, before all this, you know, he was still a hot product.
Like, these were very exciting times for Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an incredible honor to be able to do it twice, just in general.
And the way he did it.
Yeah, but then to do it, like Justin just mentioned, then do it back to back, it's an incredible feat. He's one of my favorite wrestlers.
I think, like, arm tied, I think he would probably be my favorite wrestler of all time, Shawn Michaels.
I mean, he had one hell of a career, but that is my number 3 as my top favorites. Our list.
Yeah, we're definitely swaying here a little bit.
Yeah,
between
it's
each other.
a zigzagging, but we actually agree on a majority of this.
Yeah.
It's just we rank them differently. But hit your number 2.
My number 2 can be much higher in 5 years. Ask me this question again in about 4 or 5 years. Get away from the recency bias. This could easily take the top spot for number 1. And that is the 2020 winner of Drew McIntyre. Just everything about the 2020 Royal Rumble was fantastic. From like returning Edge, and you got Brock Lesnar just being a monster through the first third of it, where he just eliminated everyone. You had some great moments, and you're asking yourself, who can knock him out? And it was Drew McIntyre, of all people. Claymore kicked him right out of the ring, and he just kept going. He didn't stop. He won everyone over. He was building star up until Royal Rumble. Like, you could feel the momentum, but it really felt like his star-making performance was the Royal Rumble. That set him off on the path to knock off Brock at Mania. And it just felt so fulfilling to watch him at the Royal Rumble.
I mean, I don't want to elaborate until it's what I have to say for, you know, to understand our list. My number 2 was Justin's number 3. I think when it's the first, I always have to give it credit because the women's division, you know, you go back 20 years, wasn't all that. And for them to get their own Royal Rumble finally, let alone, you know, their own single pay-per-view, which I kind of hope they do again.
Yeah, they really need to bring back Revolution.
You know, you said everything about your number 3, and that's my number 2. The first female Royal Rumble, the first...
say her name. Say it.
Asuka?
Asuka.
Asuka, I know.
I'll slap you in the face right here.
Asuka,
slap her around you too.
To this day, I mean, I still feel like, I mean, I know she is a dual champion again right now, but
it certainly does not feel like it.
It does not feel that way. But during that time frame, you know, you said she was dominant. She has. I didn't realize it was. She didn't.
She was still on the undefeated. She was just dominant train.
It only made sense for her to win this, and she did. It was a good moment. I know after that WrestleMania match, it was a great match. Though she should have won.
Her and Charlotte did put on a absolute. Clip.
We gotta like. There's a lot of up and down with Charlotte, but that's another idea down the road. But that's my number 2. So let's go. Well. Why don't we do some honorable mentions, or do you have?
I don't really. I mean, I could probably pull a few out of my hat, but
give one honorable mention before you go into your number 1.
Oh, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I forgot about that. Was the same year.
Yeah, it was Asuka.
Yeah, so it.
You made The Rock at the 2001 was fun. I mean, I thought the 2001 was just a fun Rumble. I wouldn't pedestal it as a very classic Royal Rumble, but it's a fun one. It was 10 at the time, and it still carries. You can make you can make any one of 3 of Stone Cold's victories. You mentioned Big John Studs being the first Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, not to say I wasn't a fan, but yeah, I mean, you do got to give credit to number 1s, and he was the first Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead and talk about your number 1.
Did you got to make any honorable mentions there, Bucko, since you put me on the spot?
Oh, yeah. Some of my honorable mentions, obviously Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has, over the last couple years, proved to be a hit amongst fans. One of the better ones in the ring. She has the title reigns.
I would love to put Becky Lynch on honorable mention, but man, that story coming out of the Rumble really, really hurt it.
Yeah, but she got one Rumble win under her belt to, I'm sure it's going to be a Hall of Fame career. And
Yeah.
I almost think she was probably the one that nobody had that much hope in.
Oh, I picked her to win that.
No, I mean, like, how Vince McMahon pegs
Yeah.
Like, out of the 4 horsemen, I don't think she was, like, the favorite to be this big.
She got to, I hate pulling names from history and like, they're like so-and-so, but the pops she was getting were just like Austin and Daniel Bryan levels of. She was the biggest thing in WWE.
Yeah.
At that moment, like, she was
definitely,
the biggest.
For a brief period. And 4 or 5 months of hardcore, just Becky.
Becky was it.
You see guys, girls wearing the man.
She was
persona
the man.
Was it? Now is hopefully coming back sooner rather than later.
Well, take your time. Don't rush on have a bunch of idiots on YouTube.
Yeah, she's being home, being a mom, so that's different.
When she comes back, the pop is going to be insane.
Oh, you have to save her. I don't care what you have to do. I know she's under contract. You save her until there's a crowd in that arena.
Yeah, don't rely on the button.
Yeah, no, because
let her stay home, be a mom, and when the crowd's back, come back.
Yeah, save her. You can keep her out until the fall when everything's supposed to really be normal. You got to have the live crowd because people. It may be one of the biggest pops of all time.
It'll rank up there.
Oh, very up there. But that's one of my honorable mentions. Stone Cold, the other two, 97, 98. 97 one was this, the birth of Austin 316, or was that?
That was King of the Ring.
But wasn't that the same year?
Oh, I couldn't remember.
I'm trying
to think it was later on down the line he did.
I think 97 was a big year for Austin.
I can't remember if he won the 96 King of the Ring or if it was 97.
Well, either way, it's in that time frame where it was just Austin being Austin, and he was the biggest wrestler at the time.
I'm trying to remember, was 97 the year he was actually eliminated but the rest didn't see it and he just rolled back in the ring?
I think so, because that was with Bret Hart too.
That was a great moment. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember when I was picking my list. I think that was the one because it involved Bret Hart was the other man that he should have won.
Yeah, I think that was a big rap because he thought he won. And
yeah, so that's catchy. Something fresh there, but that was really the prime Austin. So I did have one more, but I'm just going to go away from that and not talk about that.
Yeah.
For all sake.
We do. I'm sure if you're watching, you know the name we're talking about. He would have been on my list. He really would. He was my favorite growing up as a kid.
We're actually not going to mention it. We're just going to do the hints like this.
Again,
he had a career dedicated to wrestling, and his life just didn't end the way we saw it.
It's because of what happened. You have to tie them together.
Yeah, and it sucks because his career was good, and this was the year that he won the championship too.
Yeah, it was. It was leading into WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, it was a big year for him, but that would have been a dishonorable, honorable type of mention. So I'm not. We're not going to say.
We did. We just did.
But we're not saying his name for all sake.
My number one.
Go ahead.
Is the one where you messed up at the very beginning. I wanted to find a better one. I didn't want to fall in line because it felt like I was falling in line. But it had to be Stone Cold in 2001. That Rumble was so much fun. You had the hardcore moments. You had Drew Carey eliminating himself to get away from Kane. You had Kane going on a wreck. You had the intense stare down between Brock and Austin. And it was just so much fun.
Wasn't the 01 Rumble when Kane first set the record of how many
people he did. Kane just
before Roman.
Before Roman.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say it like that. I mean, it was going to be broken eventually.
Yes.
But Stone Cold's reign in 2001 was incredible. His victory into 2001 was just the best. It had to be here. what can I say that 100 other YouTubers have said about this? It was the best. It was.
Mine.
Ask me in 5 years, that might change.
Yeah, because I mean it goes inside with your number 2.
Yeah, because I don't want to put Drew as number 1 yet because it's got some recency bias going on there.
And that is my number 1. I don't know if I am going with bias with that because it's being so recent. It was, you talk about, you look back at his career, his early days at WWE being pegged as the chosen one, never doing that, whether it's some stupid storyline,
Chosen one to 3-man band.
Yeah, and then just being released altogether. Then coming back and looking sharper than ever.
Yeah, he definitely went all. He definitely rediscovered himself in the Indies.
He came back as Dolph Ziggler's basically henchman,
the bodyguard tag team partner.
And for a second, I thought this was going to be the same situation. I'm like, okay, Drew McIntyre returned, blah blah, whatever. But then along the lines, he got the right heat going, the right attention, everything you want to talk about, and his long story career comes to WrestleMania, and you had Edge return, and you had some big names in that Rumble that you could go, it's predicting that they would win. When Drew won it, I personally got emotional because I'm like, this is one of the wrestlers
we grew up
watching.
Like, we had the big names like Eddie and Edge, and we got to grow up watching them. But Drew started out as
in that age
the
of
jobber guy.
Yeah.
And we got to see him grow from the young guy to just big burly guy.
Like the WWE Network blessed us with, going back, okay, we can see Stone Cold's debut, The Rock's debut. When we were really of that age to know who these people were, they were already big.
Yeah.
We fell in love with them after they were big. Drew was definitely one of those wrestlers, and John Cena's one of them too. So Drew's not the only one, but with his career, the way it played out, you got to see his beginnings to now and everything like that. So this Rumble was like such an emotional one for modern day young fans like us to see this guy rise up and finally get his spotlight. So that is my number 1. Maybe years down the road it could change, just like everything else changes. But for now, that's my number 1. So let's predict.
Prediction time. Who do you got?
You go first. What are some of the? Nobody. None of the secret entrants are going to win it.
Well, you don't know that. I could see Goldberg winning this. I could see Edge or Brock winning this. And all 3 of them would be secret entrants.
Is Goldberg really in the run? Because
I can see him losing and then entering.
Oh yeah, because they do the Rumble last.
Yeah. Well, he might. It'll all depend on which one starts the show.
I don't know. You give your prediction first.
No, I said you first. And I already know who I want to.
Well, obviously.
Well, I think the favorites right now is Daniel Bryan on the men's side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last I saw, some people thought Bianca, Rhea, and Charlotte were favorites on the women's side.
Daniel Bryan. I've been hearing stories that he's settling down.
Yeah, but at this point he's just putting everyone over. He wants to build stars and uses.
Yeah, I mean, because he's part of the creative team on SmackDown, and I hear that they're raving about him. He's. If this is his last Raw, because he did say his full-time days are coming to an end, I would love to maybe get him into WrestleMania. He has a awesome career here. I would say I'd probably go with Bryan winning the Rumble then, because I think if you go back with Drew, how that was an emotional ride to get him there. I think this would be too, because I think a lot of fans know Daniel Bryan is moving away from full-time competition. Yeah. So it would be like an emotional send-off. Get him to WrestleMania,
Yeah, I said, he already had his big WrestleMania moment.
But I think if you get him there, he could give somebody else a big moment. He could put over the champ.
Roman?
Ooh, that would be a good match.
I mean, it would be.
That would be.
No, I don't want that at all.
I don't know, but I would go with Daniel winning the Rumble.
Women's?
Women's. A part of me wants to cheap out and say Charlotte Flair.
I'll stab you with something.
Because
very
you know they're
I'll stab you with that Vader doll, I swear to God. It would might actually ruin my night if Charlotte won.
Do you have any other doubt that it might not be her?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some hope.
I got an urge to say Bayley.
Bayley.
Yeah.
That's I'd love to see Bayley.
I think she had that run as a SmackDown champ. I think she deserves it.
Like I said, I would be all for another Bayley and Banks match.
Yeah.
They'd kill it every time they're in the ring.
Good chemistry.
But no, that's not what I'm going with.
Who are your two?
Men's side, my head.
Uh-oh.
My head tells me it's Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
That's not who I'm picking. Going for Hart here. Hart wants Cesaro! Please, push Cesaro! God, I keep pulling for him every year to win the Rumble. I think last year I predicted him to win the Rumble next September. He's riding a momentum wave. He's won 2 weeks in a row. He beat Daniel Bryan. Cesaro, please.
Do you truly want to follow your heart?
Yes, I'm predicting Cesaro.
All right, you heard it
The
here.
Swiss Superman.
That Cesaro is predicted by the expert, Justin.
Get them all, he's wrong. He's never going to win.
Until next time.
What? I got to pick a woman still.
Oh, women's go. Oh, go ahead.
Rhea Ripley. She has to leave NXT. You can't bring her. No, you can. She got destroyed by Gonzalez in the last woman standing match, which should be her way up to the main roster. So she should ride the wave of surprise entrant into Royal Rumble and beat everyone. This is WWE we're talking about, though. Shayna should have won last year. I'm going with Rhea still.
Me and him disagrees on that situation, but Rhea's a good choice. So,
Now that's it.
The Rumble is in 2 weeks now, the 31st. Can't wait to watch it. Stay tuned for next week's episode.
Bye-bye.